So part 2, we've got our wall looking good. Now we want to cut a hole in it. So first thing we want to do is add an object that represents what we want to cut. So we want to cut a window. So if we add a mesh, top left, mesh, come across, it's got plane, go down to cube, just add a cube. There we go. And what it does, it sticks it in the centre of the workspace. It brings up a box on the bottom left, just resize that to a 1 or whatever size you're going to cut out of it. So there we go. So if we move that down the tab, press the cross arrows there and your move tool will come up, and you've got your X, Y and Z axis. If you click on the Z axis, your blue axis, just bring it down so it's gone through. So now what you want to do is you want to click on your base with your bricks. We'll roll the displace window up because we don't need that anymore, and we'll add another modifier called a bowling. Generate and bowling. Brings you another little sub menu up. In the set, union difference, so we want difference, which takes away the cube. It will take it away from there and make us a hole. And it's got object. Now if you click on object, you'll see our cube is highlighted there. So we click on that. Takes a little second or two. Now if we apply this, so you come up to the bowling and there's a drop down box that says apply, duplicate, move to first. If you apply this, what that should have done is subtracted that from that and made a hole. Let's have a look. So we click on the cube, press X and delete, and there we go. We have a window opening, or an opening, and this is where you get arty. This is a wall. You can make and do what you like with it. There's one plugin. Every plugin or every program I've used in this video is free. There's one plugin, it's a new one. If there's any SketchUp people out there, it's called Construction Lines. On the left hand side here, if we click on it, we'll get a little menu down the bottom here, which basically is a mini SketchUp in Blender. It's the first time it's been done, so you can do CAD in Blender. So if you wanted to cut out a window, you didn't want to use the cube, you can use, say, draw a rectangle, and you can size it. If you see, the size is coming up, and there we go. And that is the same. If we solidify that and pull it up, we can use that to cut a hole. So what you could do is, if you want a round top window, you can draw an arc, click on one end, bring it up, there we go. And if you solidify that object, place it in there, then you've got a round top window opening. I'll go into detail how you add your windows later. But it's another thing, it is a paid add-on. It's $9 at the moment, and it is a beta one. So sometimes it doesn't do what you want to do. But it's just a fault. Right, so we're happy with this. By the way, when you do go into construction lines, it does go into edit mode by default when you start drawing. So if you press tab, we'll go back to object mode. Right. Now we want to save this object for printing or an STL now. So if we click on it, File, Export, come down, STL. Now important thing is, on the right hand side, click on Selection Only, because otherwise it selects everything in the scene and you don't get your result you wanted. I'll just double click on test and it's saved it as a test. What we'll do now is we'll go into, I use Prusa slicer as my slicer of choice, and I've got my printers set up on the right here. I've got 2 Ender 3s and an Eligo Mars, and the profiles are set up for that. So we'll go to the, because this brickwork will not be able to print on a FDM, far too much up and downs, we'll go to the Eligo and we'll open, we'll add our test 01. Comes out, I don't know, yeah, inches, yeah, millimeters, just yes. So there we go. Now if you click on this and come down to the right hand side, you'll see it's come in. Basically, I don't know how the scaling works exactly, but that 3 meters is now converted. I think the meters was in inches, so that 3 inches is now equivalent millimeters. Not quite sure, but you can resize it anyway. So if we wanted to change it to 70, press enter, just resizes it a little bit. And there we have, if we slice this now, and we'll bring our cursor down, you can see how it will print in resin, and it's quite a good detail down there. Right, so we go back. Now that's a bit too chunky for our wall, need to slice it off, so click on your object and we'll do a cut. Now if we move this up, we start to break in to our brickwork. So if we come to the bottom of our brickwork, on here it's got 10.44. So if we add 2 or subtract 2 mil, it will bring this down. So if we go 8 or just 8, press 8, keep upper part and uncheck the keep lower part and then perform the cut. And there we go. Now that is a printable object. Put it into your, I use G2 box as my resin slicer. Now you can manipulate this now. So what we do is we right click, we'll export it as STL and it will save it back. So press yes. So if we click on it and rotate, and actually easier way, we click on it, find the bottom, we'll call this the bottom there. On the left hand side, placed in place, and then we'll stand it up. There. Now before we do that, what we should do really is chamfer an edge. So we do a Control Z, we'll rotate it 45 degrees. We'll use our cut tool, we'll rotate that another 45 degrees, rotate that. It's a learning curve for me as well. There we go. Click on it, use our cut tool, bring it up. No, I was right in the first place. Rotate, back again. Sometimes I do wonder. Right, now we use our cut tool and we chamfer this edge. I've still not got that right, have I? No. So we rotate. There we go. Old age is setting in. Then we go up and then we can cut off. Find a nice spot at the top there. We'll keep the bottom and cut the top, perform the cut. There we go. Yep, that was what I was trying to do. Highlight, we'll click on place and place, and then we'll place it on the bed. So now what we want to do is right click, export as STL, and we'll save that because it's got a sliced edge on it now. We'll add that same object and it should come back in as a duplicate. Now if we flip it, right click, flip it or mirror along the X, it will change direction. And we click on it, we'll rotate it one, there we go, one there. So now we're 45-degree angle, we'll click on it and we'll move it to where this is not, it won't snap to objects, so it's a case of lining up, but you can get pretty good results. Now if you bought that from the shop with edges like that, I think you'd be pretty pleased. And there ends basically how you can make walls that look pretty decent. So you can add more walls, windows. Now I would print them separate, find your opening size, print them separate and add them in, because resin printing windows sometimes, especially with the glazing bars, if you have to support them they start to snag and disappear. I will make another video on how to do the windows in SketchUp and add them to this object. Well, that'll be for another day, but hopefully you've gained a bit of information on how to make your walls. See, and the world's your oyster now. You can make what building you like, when you like, what colour you like and what shape. Thanks for watching. If there's any comments or anything you want to know, put it in the comments. Thanks very much.